because we are knowing that we can call well, but besides that, we also know that we can help you to make a decision better, then we want to be paid based on result.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Couchonomics with Arjun in partnership with the Founders Speak Unplugged. We're beaming in from Singapore Fintech Festival, which is coming to an end on day one, but there's still, tens of thousands of people outside. We've had a crazy day. Joining me, well, actually on the chair, not on the couch, is Tomas. Tomas is the founder of Dyna.ai, which is a bit of a giveaway in what they do.
Right? Yeah. In a way, it's kind of obvious. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Tomas, welcome to SFF. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For my audience, let's just start with something incredibly simple. What is Dyna.ai?
Dyna.ai is a company which is doing like two types of business, I would say. Both of them is AI, if you want to use the buzzword. One is the generative AI, meaning that we are doing the agents or working on the agents for the financial institutions, which should in the near future take over entire communication between the financial institutions and their customers. That meaning like not only the calls or text bot, but we also have an avatar, as we call it, which can replace the people in the branches. So technically, then our AI could take over entire communication between the customers of the financial institution and the financial institution who is our customer. That's the generative AI part. And we also do the, let's say, discriminative AI, which most of us would call it like machine learning. And that we use for doing some, helping the our customers like finance institutions to make a better decision, whom to sell which product, whom to not sell some product, whom to kind of collect sooner, whom to offer that product sooner. So, and then we are kind of trying to, deal with the companies to kind of get the benefit of both, that the generative AI feeds the discriminative AI with additional data, which can then make a better decision. Therefore, the calls can be more successful, whatever that means, take up rate, solve the problem of the customer faster, or collect the money. So whichever of that. So we are trying to combine both AIs together.
Last couple of days, we've been at the Insight Forum, which is a precursor to SFF. Lots and lots of conversation about AI and its applicability in financial services. I think you would know it better than us. We've had automation, we've had RPA, we've had some level of machine learning, which has existed in banking across the value chain, right? So it's not as if AI or the early days of AI were not sort of necessarily known. So a couple of questions here, right? So one is, how much traction are you genuinely seeing in terms of banks making bold decisions in terms of really embedding AI, right, at scale, right, and driving productivity gains? And I personally think, the arbitrage of labor might be the first area where success might come, right? The second part of the question, and you can choose to sort of answer it separately, but I'll ask the question here, is that with generative AI, and for small brains like mine, is like equal to ChatGPT, right? Which is a language model, right? Banks tend to be quantitative driven. They tend to be number driven, right? And LLMs might not be the appropriate approach or technology for the quantitative side or requirements of AI. How does that sort of fit into the whole conversation around people getting all crazy about generative AI in financial services, but the applicability could be a lot more limited than people imagine? Or maybe my hypothesis is wrong.
So I like the first part of the question when you say like how bold decision they are making. I mean, like banks are known for not making bold decisions. The bigger the bank, less bold they are. The more challenger banks are forced to make a bold decision. I would not say that any bank is making bold decision by definition, because they are kind of having their own regulators who are kind of regulating them, like all the interactions. Then you also have to think it from perspective that the money what banks operates is not their money; it's the money of their kind of customers who brought the deposits. So they rightfully so should not be bold. But obviously, for me, it would be better if they are a little bolder in making decision. So that's, let's say that's the first part of your question. I really like it. I will use it like quite often, that there is this correlation between the smaller bank, the bolder decision. So that's the first part. The second part, like I would say that the LLM and the using of the generative AI, it is actually for the banks. It's actually very the big span of where they can use it, and then and actually like the banks can foresee the benefits, because the benefits are really the ones which the banks tend to like, meaning they can have less of the labor cost, which obviously like more developed country you are at, like Singapore, then the labor cost is more expensive. So then if the our agents can take over job of people who are calling customers, then obviously the banks can save money on that perspective. But that's just the very simple part of view. The second part of view is like that if you consider the way that you are having like some robot or some AI intelligence which is calling you for every single part of what you are dealing with the bank. And I mean like every single, then I mean like really like whenever you are having some trouble, whenever you are applying for some product, whenever you are kind of having trouble some product, whenever you are kind of having trouble to repay the product, or whenever you are just simply in the mobile app and through the AI, like a language user interface, you are navigating through the mobile app, like doing the transaction. So you don't even have a problem. You are just simply dealing with the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And if every single contact of yours with the any institution, but let's stick with the finance institution, is done through AI, then the AI knows about you more than you do know about yourself. That means then if the bank then tries to sell you some other product, they can sell you the product better. And that then technically means that they can, you have the same piece of plastic, the same piece of credit card, and then each one of us use it differently, and each one of us appreciates something else about credit card. So then if you use AI to sell, then if the AI knows you after like, 60, 70, 80 interactions, then the sales can be much more effective. And obviously that banks will like that part. The point is why they don't make the bold decision if they like this part is exactly the point that they are not used to it and they want someone else to test it. So the typical approach of the bank would be, we will be ready. And when the first bank has it and proves that it works and get all the green light from the regulator, we will also jump in. So actually we are now our mission is to find in every single important market, find the relevant bank, a relevant size bank who kind of open those doors for the others, and then there will be like an avalanche of the solution, because customer will like it. You will receive less calls, but the calls will be also more relevant. You will, if you have a servicing call, and I mean like all of us probably like, I don't know, like I don't have this good example as of now, just at sport, but you can imagine that you are calling the bank like not so often with some problems, but when you call with some problem, then probably it's something what is important to you, and it's something what you don't do so often. So what might happen is that you might have the same problem 1 year later, and because it's 1 year, you forgot it. Like, okay, I was trying to do something in the mobile app, and I know it's there, but because I was a year ago, I again forgot. So you can again call the bank, but if you call the operator, you have to explain him the problem all over again. But if it's AI, you can simply say, I was having the same problem sometimes last year. And then the AI would immediately, from the long memory, would kind of be able to answer and navigate you. So the servicing call, which normally with the human being would be taking, 2, 3, 5 minutes. And technically you would have to explain yourself, and with all those yes, no, kind of explaining like what exactly is your problem. If it's like repeated one, it can be solved with the AI in 10 seconds. So then customer will like it because doesn't have to repeat themselves. Let's not talk about this real 24/7, but that's why I'm saying that once the first bank will be using it, then the customers will forcing the bank to do it. So the banks will be more. The second, third bank will be don't have to be like so brave to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And also the customers will demanding it, because
it's a little bit like mobile banking, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Very much. The first one did it, and then everybody realized that the goalpost has shifted.
Yeah.
Now, so let me sort of build on that question in the first part of that question. You've obviously expanded into a number of other markets,
Yes.
right? And that's quite impressive, and you've done it in quite a short period of time, right? So as you enter other markets, and as you said that you're trying to find that sort of perfect sweet spot of a bank, and so on and so forth. Part of the challenge, which I think comes in terms of, and you tell me, because my day job is I work as a management consultant. I work in the financial services sector. I work on fintech. So a lot of the work that we do potentially leads to downstream opportunities for players such as yours, right?
Thank you for that.
Well, I never thought I was doing anyone a service, but I'll take the thank you, right? So in a number of markets where we've actually seen challenges is that actually it's not necessarily just the knowledge or the bravery or the boldness, and I'm never expecting them to be overly bold. Bold is a relative word, but actually they don't necessarily have the infrastructure in place also to make the most use of AI, right? For example, I'll give you an example. I had a conversation earlier with one of the large cloud providers here, and I was talking about one particularly large country, and I said, something, the vast majority of banks in that particular country still operate on-prem, right? And I read a very interesting report which came out of MIT, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, which said no cloud is equal to no AI, right? Where basically,
Pretty much.
Yeah. So how much of a challenge is it infrastructurally also that you are seeing as you're going into other markets?
I guess we are not having that issue so much for, I would say, for two reasons. One is what I already say, like we are now dealing mostly with those challenger banks.
Okay.
And those are the ones who are challenging exactly by the through the technology. So they are ready. Of course, once we will be kind of getting to those old-fashioned banks, we are also
which is where the money is.
Where most of the customers, they will get most of the benefit and we will get most of the money. Yeah, then we might face that. But the second reason for that is also that, even if I'm saying that our aim is to take all the communication, most of the time we are kind of starting like opening doors to taking the sales or collections. Okay. And for that, the banks are pretty much ready to outsource. So they have some API to get connected with some outsourcing call center. And that's pretty much they treat me because I don't have the people, but to them, Dyna is the call center. And they know how to connect with the call center. So technically, it is pretty easy for them to connect me. That's something what they used to do, or they used to did it like they did it in the past before they just decided to do it in-house because they've been having some trouble with turnover in the people in the call centers, which they've been outsourcing. But one way or another, they have a systems ready for it, still using it. Or they used to use it, so that's easy. However, obviously, as I say, like once they would take all communication, that won't be so easy, and then obviously I have to be more integrated. But I guess we have to solve it as we go. But for the digital banks and the most challengers, it's not eminent problem. But yes, you're right. For the biggest ones, it will come.
Yeah. It will come. So I was reading last night and wasn't familiar about your business. So you mentioned Avatar. Yeah, I read there's a Dyna Avatar. There's a Dyna Athena.
Yeah, we stopped calling it because like it was kind of a bit of since we are a new company, as you mentioned, it's like better for us just to keep Dyna. So we now just call it. We call Avatar still Avatar, but Athena we just call it Dyna Voice GPT because people understand it better. The Avatar is probably like. Because of the movie, everybody knows when I say Avatar, they mean it's something physical. So we keep it still Dyna Avatar, but Dyna Athena, we stopped calling it because, you would have to explain what Athena means. So if you say Dyna Voice GPT, then everybody understands. So we stopped calling it Athena because we just want to promote just Dyna, because we have to be known. We are not yet Microsoft, then you say everybody knows what it is. So hopefully 2 years from now, we can use Athena again and everybody will know Dyna by just knowing it, yeah.
Excellent. Result as a service mode, right? Talk to us about it.
I will come back to the point what I said at the beginning, that we are not doing only the generative AI, but we also do the scoring and analysis.
Yep.
And because we do that, and we want to combine that together with the generative AI. So what differentiates us from others? It's and I could speak that our robot speaks better and more languages and whatever. But what obviously differentiates us from others is that we do also that scoring part. Mm-hmm. That we are not only providing to the companies that you take it from us and it will call for you instead of the people. But we are saying whatever data you will collect from those calls or whatever data you have about the customers around your bank or you are getting from outside, we can use it into the score, embed it into the score with what you're getting from the generative AI, which can help you then to have the calls more effective and to put our behavior behind our words. The result as a service is the best possible way. So we mean like, because we are knowing that we can call well, but besides that, we also know that we can help you to make a decision better, then we want to be paid based on result, which obviously, as I said, for this calls of sales and calls of collection, it's kind of goes without big thinking, meaning for if you do sales for you want to be paid to as a sales agent. So for the sales, you are normally for the sales agent are paying certain commissions, pay us the same. So you don't pay us for integration, you don't pay us for usage of the systems, you pay us for the results. Collected money or sales or solved problems in servicing if you kind of do also servicing for you. So this is what we do, and why we are liking it or why we are doing it is exactly to demonstrate that we are not doing just calling, we do the other part also.
Very interesting. The other interesting thing I read was that I think about 50% of your organization is in R&D.
Yeah, I mean, like but it's obvious for any AI. It doesn't make us any difference.
I would imagine so, right? And that's largely because the technology is evolving at such a pace of knots that you have to sort of stay ahead of the curve.
One of the point, but it's not only like that you are kind of evolving, like that you would be developing something super smart, super new, but it's also like whatever you develop in one language, unfortunately the globe, because of this Babylon in the Bible happened, and then there is too many languages, so then we have to develop the other languages too. So it's not only that we kind of go to the new direction, but also in a direction we developed in one language, we have to develop in many others.
What was the thinking behind saying let's expand into so many markets so quickly? Why not sort of say, something, let's focus on one or two markets and go deep into that market? So what was the thinking? Is it largely because you felt that the water flew more easily if you did that?
I guess it is more like that we really believe that the knowledge or the know-how of ours, it's kind of replicable in a different languages. So develop the language, it's, let's say, time consuming, but the glitches what you can find in the way, all those kind of difficulties what you can find in a way, we solved it in quite a few languages at the beginning, because Singapore is like a multi-language country and the neighboring nations are speaking different languages, and they are still pretty large in number of people. So then obviously we just believe that since we gain that knowledge, and then we can just kind of repeat in the other languages. So that was probably like natural direction. And obviously we are selecting the like where we are, like the Latin America, like again because of being able to speak Spanish, which is the second or third most common language, I guess second after Chinese, I guess, but I'm not sure. I mean, like I should be reading some articles to be looking more smart.
It is in the top 3 or 4.
It is somewhere in top 3. It's not there. So top 4, let's say it is one of the top 4, which is, and we do all the other big countries surrounding our home city, which is Singapore. So we speak Bahasa, we speak Thai. So that's more like that. That was the reason, yeah. That there are like a big nations of a lot of people and around us. And then when we've been doing 2 3 languages, then we find out that repeating the other language is kind of repetitive, and that's that kind of all that technical solutions what we learned that we can replicate. So we saw it like a competitive advantage to do more languages.
And what challenges have you had as a business to continue expanding into new markets, dealing with different types of customers who are in different levels of maturity?
There is many of them. Like some of them is, of course, that you have to hire people like in the market, like to build a local team, because they have to help you with.
And is that even easy?
No, it's not. It's not. On the other hand, it is easy from perspective, because when you kind of start sourcing as an AI company, a lot of people are really interested to join.
Okay.
But you have to find out who are the right people. Like so, and that's not easy for you if you don't know the market. So luckily, I was working before in many other markets. My co-founder also worked in several markets. So we have a lot of experience, let's say, in the Southeast Asia and Middle East. Mexico is for us the bigger challenge, because it's besides of jet lag and everything when you travel there and back. So you are having jet lag 1 week coming there and jet lag coming back, which for me this week coming back. So that's another one. But also like that we don't have so much of a knowledge. But luckily another colleague of ours was working for the Spanish banks, which are having big presence in Latam, in Mexico. So then we can get like some kind of connections there. So we can find the people through connections. But like I would say the Middle East and South Asia is not so big difficulties, but Mexico is for us like a challenge because of the distance and because we don't have I personally don't have any experience working there before. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going to switch gears because we unfortunately this would make for a long conversation, because there's so much I want to learn about what you do, but maybe another day. Talk a little bit about your founder journey. So talk about your own personal journey in terms of how did you come about to establish this business, and what have been the highs and lows as you've gone through the journey so far.
Highs and lows are exactly the same as any other founder might have. It's like like one day you feel that everything goes well, and then the same day in the
Yeah, but
evening.
first start telling me what led you to create this business. How did the genesis of this business happen?
The point is, like, I guess, like, the story will make kind of sense only if I will say it about my co-founder Carlton, who was doing this similar job already on his previous
Okay.
job, and I'm more like representing the customer, like banks in the industry, and I was like frustrated with the bank. So then that was like really, really frustrating, and I just felt like that's like moving nowhere. And then I mean, like, you know, okay, fine, let me start from absolutely different perspective. Like, last few years, every morning when I'm driving kids to the school, I'm saying them, God forbid you if you would like to get employed. And I was employed, and I'm saying them, like, and they've been always asking why. And we've been already having like a family joke that I was saying them that they cannot get employed, that they have to open their own companies. And they say me, but you are working in the company. I said, and it's exactly the reason, because my mother, she was like a watch repairer. And she was always saying me that I should work at bank because she's seen that this is the best job ever. So I was doing first university the way I wanted, like astrophysicist.
Oh, wow.
And then I joined the bank to make my mother happy. And I have to say, I made like a fortune. I was kind of like kind of successful, make some money, but still, you have always the boss, and you have to do something what you don't like, and that doesn't really. The frustration from the banks come. So then I find out that that the best part would be to do something. So then, combining that, I was saying to my kids every morning that they should not get employed, and then opportunity with Carton, who was my ex-colleague, like he was my vendor, let's say, when I was working like 10 years ago in home credit. So then when he came with the idea that we should do it together, me representing the kind of
The voice of the customer.
voice of the customer, and he representing like the let's say the AI part and vendor part. So I could not say no. I mean, like, simply I could not, because I would not be able to talk to my kids like whatever I'm trying to teach them every morning. I would have to stop talking about it.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
That is actually that is a true and an honest story, because I think a lot of us are usually stuck in that conundrum. I myself think I'm a closet entrepreneur. I think my time has passed. I will never become an entrepreneur, but I encourage as many people as I can meet to say, something. An entrepreneurial journey is actually quite. It's tiresome.
It's difficult, but what I mean always is, like, I was having like a lot of discussions with my colleagues about that, like, who are still working in the company, and they said, like, they are always saying that there is very like big likelihood that if you open the company, that will not work. That probably, like, the likelihood is probably much bigger than it will work. But what I'm trying to say them, and I'm saying the same to my kids, is like, if you will try to open the company when you still don't have a family, then you, in a way, are having that possibility to try, and you just cannot complain later on that you didn't. And if you it's not successful since you don't have kids, then nothing bad will happen. And plus, when you then apply for a job, if you decide, fine, I'm not a nature-born entrepreneurial and it's not for me after 5 years of trying, those 5 years are not wasted, because every single employer will pretty much appreciate it like you would be working in some other in a company. Because even if you failed, you know a little bit about finance, you know a little bit about accounting, you know a little bit about marketing, you know a lot about product, you know a lot about like finding, like getting money, fundraising. So you get to know a lot of stuff, like, if you try. So technically, it's if it's not, I believe it is, but if it's not, it should be actually appreciated much better. Like, those 5 years should be more value than 5 years working in some company as a clerk in marketing or HR. I mean, like, that gives you just one narrow view. But if you do, like, try to run your business, then obviously you must learn more. Obviously, starting doing the business like me in age of 50, when you have the kids on schools, it's a bit of different risk and different opportunities and different perspective. But yeah, with my
But
kids,
don't worry, you don't look a day older than 30. So
thank you.
So you got great genes or great face cream, one of the two, or maybe both, right? But Thomas, that does
Now
resonate.
I'm blushing, yeah, and I will be blushing till end of the recording.
Well,
yeah.
that's how I usually save the best lines for the last, right? We don't have an answer. But no, Thomas, thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the festival. I know you said you might be jet lagged.
That's fine. I mean, like, it's our hometown, so I'm enjoying it. We've been in Dubai doing the same stuff like in April, and we enjoyed it. But this is our hometown. I mean, like, here it's more for us because I'm meeting a lot of ex-colleagues, a lot of people whom I know from the business. So this is for us the happening event. So
Well, next time you're in Middle East, do give me a call. I'd
Sure.
love to sit down.
Last
and
week of April, last week of November.
All right, so do give us a shout. I'll be coming back from Romania then, but we definitely would love to hear more about what you guys are doing in the Middle East,
Good,
right?
thank you.
And Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Thomas, who is the co-founder of Dyna.ai. Right. With that, I'll say goodbye till the next episode. Bye-bye.